We're almost to beta. Beta probably is going to be in June, which I'm recording this May 19th, so probably in a few weeks. And to this date, we haven't really seen any serious changes to Havoc's tree, the class tree, or really either of the hero talent trees either, and they've obviously both have problems. So we're gonna do a simple video here. We're gonna go over it, and I'm just gonna talk about what I want to see changed and what could be improved. All right, so I'm trying something a little different with the recording today. So if you like how this is set up with my face a little smaller and kind of half the screen being like footage, you guys won't be able to see my mouse today, but you know, I'll try and keep that in mind just based on how I was really able to figure out how to set this up. But again, let me know. So today, again, I want to talk about just like the trees and what I want to see changed. We won't go too in depth on a few things here, but obviously there's stuff and I want to talk about it. So let's just jump in. So class tree wise, I don't really think there's a ton to be changed, right? I think realistically for the class tree, the biggest thing is that we just have a lot of throughput kind of locked at the bottom of our tree. We don't have like a ton of interesting nodes. Some of the really good class trees, you can get a lot of like really cool, interesting utility nodes. We don't really have that. The really only choice here is like if we like click out a whole tree here that you'll normally take. Oh, whoa! Didn't mean to open that up. But you'll grab like this stuff, right? For like a raid or something. And then that's kind of it, right? Like I'm just kind of clicking through. There's not really a ton of choice. We're just doing this to kind of get down to all the throughput. This is throughput, this is throughput, this is throughput, this is throughput. This is important survivability, important survivability, important survivability. I guess like if you do want to drop stuff and the real options are misery or imprison to pick up, you can drop this and grab one of those. You can drop these points here and like go down this way, and then you can pick up one of these. Like not a ton of options there, but that's really it. They're like the class tree is fine. You know, I'm not going to beat the bush for the class tree. It's in a much better spot than it was. Obviously it does suck that there's so much throughput in the bottom here that we need to get. Is what it is. Lots of other trees have just better options there. In terms of Havoc's tree, which we can just fill out like a normal little build here for, going on to what we're currently with, and then I guess we can look at what might change next year as well. So Havoc's tree I think is also fine. Obviously I don't expect us to really see too many changes to the tree in this patch because we just got our changes as I fill out this tree here. So this is kind of like our single target build, and then this is our AoE build. So they're very similar. I think realistically the biggest issues with the tree are I want to see cycle changed. Now, right now, cycle is random, right? Blade Dance, Chaos Strike, Clave Tempest, and whenever you have this, Fierce Throws, also Throw Glaive, reduce it. I want to have this be just flat 20 seconds, right? They've gone and done this with a bunch of other things for different specs. Demonology Warlock has their stuff removed. Unholy DK has their stuff removed. So it's all baseline, whatever. This being, I guess, RNG, it's not RNG anymore, but it's not the same amount. It might be more, it might be less. It's a variable cooldown now. It's not just a flat cooldown. It means it doesn't really line up well with things like Essence Break. You often have to hold I-Beam or you end up desyncing it in other ways. I think it's pretty bad. Making this 20 seconds would put a lot less of an emphasis on haste gearing. Well, you know, you can still have Shattered Destiny be a good option for haste, but would make it just like a lot better if you need I-Beam every 20 seconds. I would love to see that. It would actually mean you could actually use it in builds again. You could use it in Mythic Plus if you wanted to, because Cycle of Hatred is just a dead, like it's not really worth it Mythic Plus because you just can't get really good CDR on it. And for those people who liked this kind of playstyle, you can just keep Shattered Destiny, maybe give another node there, that kind of thing. I think that's kind of the thing I want to see. There's like some other stuff too. There's some nodes here that just kind of suck. Looks can kill. Like, what is this? I-Beam deals guaranteed critical strikes. This is so boring. Bake it in baseline. It's just not a point we really need to take. We don't need to ever take it, which is good, but it just kind of sucks. Fel Barrage is just dead on arrival because they've just nerfed it so much. Maybe look at it. I don't really know. I think Chaos Theory is pretty bad and pretty boring. Same with Critical Chaos, but again, those are whatever, neither here nor there. This node is impossible to ever get. Dash of Chaos feels like a really fun quality of life thing. I would love to see this maybe move to the class tree so you can actually use class points on it, because class points are so much less valuable than spec points, but it's whatever. And then that's kind of it for nodes. I mean, Isolated Prey is pretty fine now too. These both have use cases. It's just mostly Cycle of Hatred, and then this one being there. The other thing is the glaive stuff, right? So it's really spread out. I think this is something our tree doesn't do very well, where a lot of other trees, I kind of like it. So on our tree, we don't really have the ability to like spec into a thing and then upgrade it, right? If we are to go to another class tree, like let's just look at Monk, for instance, right? We'll look at Mistweaver. Doesn't really matter here. They have the option to, at least they used to. Look, they can take J-Fire Stomp and they can improve it somehow. They can take Whirling Dragon Punch and then they can improve it in other nodes here. They can take Zwen, and then Zwen can be improved through further nodes down here. They take Strike of the Windlord, which is then also improved through further things down here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nodes for Strike of the Windlord. And that's just kind of like a thing that I find pretty cool. Mage is pretty similar too. Look at Fire. They have the whole like firebomb stuff on the right side. They have all this like combustion improvement. They have like there's like meteor stuff. They have like scorch and execute stuff. I know I'm not really highlighting all these nodes. Just don't think that's really in the scope here. Frost also has similar stuff. Hunters have it. We can look at Beast Mastery. They have Call the Wild, which is then empowered. They have like a whole like kill command chain down here. They have like Bestial Wrath stuff that gets improved down this line. So Havoc, I think, is just kind of missing that. I don't know if people necessarily want that. I personally think it's pretty cool. The only thing we really get in that regard is Cycle of Hatred leading into Shattered Destiny. Like there is some Immolation Aura stuff on this left side, but then the capstone is a Fire Inside, which is way over here. We have one here for the movement stuff. I would say the movement leading into Inertia works. I think the Fire Inside Immolation Aura stuff works because it's like, you know, it's a natural progression through here. I think Fire Inside should maybe be on this side. Maybe put Felbrog over here. I don't really know if it would change anything, would make more sense. You know, I just think there's not a great progression of things. Like you have Glaive Talon here, Glaive Talon here, Glaive Talon here, Glaive Talon here. And there's no real capstone like Soul Scar, sure, but like give us Fel Bombardment or something. So I think just like more ability to dive into different talents and like spice those up and improve those some way would be pretty cool. I think like just a restructuring of the tree would be kind of nice in that regard. We just don't have that many points, and I guess as a Havoc Demon Hunter, we're kind of used to that. But it is what it is. All right, big meat and topic of this video is going to be the hero trees. So Fel Scarred is the first one, obviously. Demon Surge gives you more meta power, and then every time you use it, it increases damage. And there's just a bunch of nodes here. So I actually really like this tree. We'll just click through stuff. I'll only talk about the ones that I think are problematic today. If you want to see like my review of the tree, go check out other videos. I have some other stuff on the channel as well. So problems on the tree. I think the first problem with Fel Scarred, and we'll get to Aldrachi Reaver last, boring nodes. So we have 4 nodes on this tree that are very incredibly boring and don't really affect things, and they could just be cooler. The Demon Surge deals 35% increased damage when it strikes a single target. Sure, boring. 50% increased maximum fury. Sure, boring. Enduring Torment. Whenever you're out of demon form, you get 5% Blade Dance and Chaos Strike damage and 3% haste. Really minor and also really boring. And then finally, get 5% Agi while not in demon form. Again, really boring. So this node is meant to kind of improve your single target with this tree, which fine, whatever. It's like an uncapped AoE ability, which seems really good. This is meant to just let you pool more fury into your windows here, which is fine, I guess. You know, you'll never really cap with Blind Fury anymore, which is kind of cool. Monster Rising and Enduring Torment are meant to kind of smooth out being outside of meta form, which is fine. But I just think these could be like a little spicier, right? Like add something onto this that maybe makes it have higher crit chance or crit damage or something. Maybe not crit. I guess that's really strong for Havoc, but have it do something extra, a little something spicier, you know? Like when I read this and it just does 35% increased damage on a single target, I'm like, cool, I guess. That's like not really that exciting, but I guess I'll take it for single target damage. This one down here, 50 extra fury. That's like, okay, sure, I got more fury. Maybe also have a thing where the more fury you have, the more damage your Chaos Strike does, or the more fury you spend, you get a stacking buff that increases your next Blade Dance damage or something. You know what I mean? Like just add a little something extra to it. It's not, the spice isn't there. It's very bland. It's missing its salt. They didn't season it before they put it in the oven. It's fine, and it could be better. It's just missing that seasoning. And these two are the same thing. I like the idea of having it be like less of a downside while you're out of your meta. That's always been a thing Havoc has struggled with. Whenever we're in these like meta builds where you're in demonic, and your damage is high, your damage is great, especially in this tree where, you know, you're really going to amp your meta damage with demonic intensity, increasing meta and eye beam and Immolate Aura and Sigil Flame damage and Demon Surge and all that. You're gonna be blasting in your cooldowns, right? Absolutely just shredding. But outside of them, you're not really gonna be doing a ton. And like, I get why they want these nodes, but they're really, really, really boring. You're never gonna notice 5% extra Chaos Strike and Blade Dance damage, and 3% haste is super minor. And 5% agility is actually like solid, but it's also pretty minor, and it's also on a part where we don't do most of our damage, right? Because again, we're doing most of our damage in demon form. So these nodes, while are boring, are also pretty weak, I think. You can make these happen in like cooler ways. And maybe Enduring Torment decays over time. Like it starts really high, like you have 30%, 30%, and whatever, how much haste you get, 20%, which is what you have in meta, and it decays over time, which I think would be pretty fun, you know, as you're like cooling down from the demon form, not just straight 0 to nothing, just like, or not 0 to nothing, but straight like full power to no power. You can start at full power and slowly go down to 0, which I think would be pretty interesting. It'd be the same overall thing, but it would just be cooler because you can kind of interact with it a little bit more. And then just being 5% agility, not that great. Maybe it could be something where it's like the more you do in demon form, like the more fury spent in demon form or something, then the more bonus you get outside of it. Could be interesting because that could also work with this fury thing. But just something extra, right? Something a little spicy, something to stir the pot a bit, something to get me cooking, something to be like, ooh, okay, I like what this is doing. It's fine that this is a simpler tree. We have Aldrachi that's more complex, which we'll get to. But I don't know, these just, I think, need to be doing more, right? They're just boring. So that's that. The rest of the nodes are fine. Utility nodes. Sapphire to the Pain is great. Improved Soul Rending is like rot fights, I guess, which is fine. This is cool. Makes everything make sense. This is actually, hold up. This is a cool way. So this is just a damage increase, but the damage increase, that's interesting. It's interesting in the way it kind of works. Like, it's not like anything like too crazy about it. It just makes your Chaos Strike, Throw Glaive, and auto attacks deal 10% extra damage as a dot. But that dot is fire, which can be converted to mastery through any means necessary, which can buff it. So it's like more than 10%. So that's like a little interaction. It's cooler than just saying, oh, 10% extra damage. You can look on your meters. You can see a dot there. You can look on the enemy. You can see a dot on them. So it's like a little bit more engaging there. And it's like better than just saying Chaos Strike, Throw Glaive, and auto attack deal 10% more damage, right? Like, this is a cooler way of doing it. But even just something like that for the other nodes would be better. But yeah, all the rest of the nodes are fine. They both have interesting things, and they're fine. All right, Aldrachi time. Throw the whole tree away. Now, we haven't seen any changes to Aldrachi at all, which I think might be part of the reason why hopefully something's happening. But we'll end up seeing, I guess. But there's just a lot of bad here. So we'll start at the top here. Consuming 3 soul fragments allows you to cast Reaver's Glaive, which throws a glaive, doing some stuff, and then you bring in a practice pattern of glaive work, enhancing your Chaos Strike and Blade Dance. Chaos Strike replaces Reaver's Mark, applies Reaver's Mark, which causes the target to take 15% increased damage, and Blade Dance deals 3 more glaive slashes to nearby targets. Souls suck. Souls are a terrible mechanic. They're very clunky for Vengeance, and they're very clunky for Havoc. Vengeance, it's like fine because it's actually worked into them, but Vengeance Demon Hunters notoriously hate the mechanic. So forcing Havoc to interact with it, which is really just an RPPM proc on our Chaos Strikes. There's other ways to get them in the tree, I know, but that sucks. That's really boring. And people just hate it. It's unavoidable. We Fel Rush all the time for our movement. So if you want to kind of like hold them, it doesn't really work that well. They're in such a way where it's like pretty uncontrolled, like obviously, proc chance, whatever. But it's like if you're trying to hold off and picking up that third one, you could just pick it up. You might get, whatever. It's just not great. There's no real easy way to track them. It's just a system that doesn't really work for Havoc. It's a system that barely works for Vengeance, and giving Havoc just doesn't work. On top of that, Reaver's Mark at 15% increased damage for 5 seconds. Like, what are we doing here, guys? We have Inertia, we have Essence Break, we have Initiative, we have Demonic, I guess that counts. And now we have Reaver's Mark. That's 5 buffs that are all about 5 to 6 seconds that we have to overlap in order to do damage. Not even counting some of the stuff later on in the tree here. So, we always joke about how it takes a PhD in Havocology to play the spec. With this, it will literally take a doctorate and a postgrad. you know, and maybe even your full dissertation in Havocology in order to play this, because that's just a lot of layers to overlap. And it's kind of crazy, really. So that needs to go back. Blade Dance is fine, whatever. There's other stuff in the tree. I haven't actually looked in this tree in a while, so I don't remember what some of all the nodes do. I think there was some weird stuff about this not working with glaive talents, but I think those are fixed. I don't have alpha, so I can't confirm or deny. Pretty sure those are fixed now, so we're just not going to touch them. Rest of the tree has some weird stuff. I think this is a weird node. Evasive action, vengeful retreat can be used again. The 3 seconds means that it's either really good because you can re-proc all your stuff, or it's not going to work with that stuff and it's like never going to be used unless you are using it for movement, which you shouldn't be because we have to use it for DPS. Then unhindered assault, fine, you can like get back into your target, but if you're using vengeful retreat and you have to use Fel Blade afterwards, you're never really doing it what you're supposed to. So this is a node that's like, I don't know, it's whatever, it's weird, it's fine. This is fine. This is fine, I guess. So this just is a 30% empower to your enhanced ability. It's 30% extra damage, but it's a little bit like spicier, I guess. It's a little more interesting, so I'm fine with it. Wounded Quarry, while Reaver's mark is on your target, melee attacks have a chance to strike and give you more damage and a soul. Again, RNG stuff. Reaver's mark lasts for 5 seconds, so within this window, you have an RNG thing on your melee attacks to proc stuff, and this is going to be a really big swing because 1 soul is a third of the way to your next glaive. So again, it's just like, why giving us more RNG here on top of this? We're already in this window where our autos are, you know, we have this 15% damage amp, and now our autos have to hit, and those autos need to shear stuff, so clunky there. And then Morbid's Hunger is fine, just extra damage. This is fine, more soul for damage. Hunt reduction, great. I actually like the hunt reduction. Just kind of useless, whatever, it's fine. This one, escalation. So each successive enhanced ability deals 10% increased damage. Don't know if that applies to the first one, but the effect of the second enhancement is increased by 100%. More further complication to Reaver's mark, right? So you can make it deal 6 additional glaive slashes or 30% increased damage. So not only are you going to need to learn to apply these things to your rotation, but you're also going to need to figure out in which scenario is it better to get the 30%, and in which scenario is it better to get the extra Blade Dance damage. It's probably going to be, if you're in Essence Break, you take the 15% and then the extra Blade Dance just because of how the window works out. If you're not in that and you're like, you have like a hunt or you have something else you want to buff, probably take the 30%. Now the weird part is that Blade Dance is one of those abilities we want to buff, but you have to use the Chaos Strike second in order to get that to work. There's a bit of a friction there. I don't really like it. And finally, Thrill of the Fight. After consuming both enhancements, so Chaos Strike, Blade Dance, you gain Thrill of the Fight, increasing attack speed by 15% for 5 seconds and causing your next ability to deal 30% increased damage and healing. So this kind of fixes Wounded Quarry a bit, but I still don't really like it. And the 30% increased damage and healing is just, again, on top of where we already are, an extra little layer. It's like, what are we using this empowered ability on? Is it going to be a Chaos Strike? Probably not. Is it going to be the Hunt? Hopefully. Is it going to be... Can never be a Blade Dance, I guess, unless you reset stuff. Right, because you do your meta window, you can do Chaos Strike, Essence Break, Death Sweep, meta, Death Sweep. And if they fix it, it'll be consumed with Death Sweep. As it is now, it'll be consumed by the meta explosion. So I really just think this tree has too many problems centered around this, right? With the souls, with the extra complexity it adds. And I think just like a whole redesign of the whole thing needs to be done. I like the idea they're going for with the souls. It makes sense. Vengeance has long been tied to those. And they're also kind of giving a bit of like a glaive dance kind of pattern work, Thrill the Fight, like flipping around, doing your glaive work, dance stuff, which Havoc has long been associated with. So I'm fine with that kind of melding there. But I just don't think it's working out in that well of a direction. So we'll see what they cook up with this. But this one, I don't even know where to go with it. They kind of just need to go back to the drawing board, scrap it over, and come back in with kind of a new focus here. So disappointing. But yeah. So that's going to be the video today, going over all that stuff. Let me know what you thought. Those are kind of what I want to see. We'll see what happens. Aldrachi Reaver reworked, some of the boring talents from Fel Scarred fixed up, and some slight tweaks to the tree, just like a little extra spice for the class tree, just add a little extra something. Cycle reduced down to 20 seconds would be cool, and stuff like that. So hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next time. Peace. A big thank you to all of my channel members. Thank you Sky Elk, Andrew Keenel, 100,001 Zans, Brad Wisniak, Felfa Darren Dark Terror, and Magic Man 133. Thank you all so much. If you want to help support me and help fund the channels and the videos, follow the link in the description to become a channel member and get some cool perks in the process. Again, thank you all so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.